Have you ever left a retreat or, just some great experience and been told something like this? Don't lose the mountaintop experience, or bring the mountain down with you. Right? We would all love to have those moments in our faith if they could just stay there. Like if we could live on those mountaintop experiences. But the reality is that those mountaintop experiences are meant to be applied in the valley. In other words, the mountaintop experiences aren't just for ourselves, right? They are to serve others in the valley. And in the passage we're going to look at in Mark 9, we're going to see Jesus and 3 of his disciples leaving the mountain in order to come down into the valley. So we're going to be in this section all week. The passage we looked at this past Sunday, we're going to go in some different directions because there's so much here. And so here's the main theme we're going to see this entire week, right? Faith mobilizes, unbelief paralyzes. So I'm going to start off in Mark chapter 9, verses 14 through 16. When they came to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them and the teachers of the law arguing with them. As soon as all the people saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with wonder and ran to greet him. "What are you arguing with them about?" he asked. So I think one of the things we see about Jesus is even though he was coming off the mountain, he was not afraid to engage in the needs in the valley. The reality is that a great deal of our faith, the majority of the way we live out our faith, is going to be experienced in the valleys. And I really think this is necessary. I'm going to share this kind of embarrassing but true life story. I remember our first night back from our honeymoon. So Jen and I had a very smooth dating relationship, good honeymoon. And so she had already had a daughter, Emma, so my stepdaughter, and she was 8. So our first night back, she was making dinner and Emma and I were playing. We have wood floors, so Emma had grabbed my leg and I was walking with her. We were having a great time until she lost her grip and did a face plant into the wood floor. It chipped her permanent tooth. There was blood, there was tears, there was screaming. There was a lot of fear, and literally the honeymoon was over. And really for the first time, I think our relationship, my wife and I, it was tested. Because the initial kind of tendency was to give each other the silent treatment. She was mad at me, I was upset that she was upset with me, and we kind of kept our distance from one another. Well, eventually, by faith had to mobilize us to come back together, even in spite of our feelings. Now, I feel like this is very representative of how we live out our faith in some instances, right? Things are going along, we're doing great, we're having a grand old time, and then something happens that catches us off guard. And what is so easy to do in those moments is to kind of back away from God because there is something we don't understand. And yet remember, faith mobilizes, unbelief paralyzes. And I think what God is telling us, that while on the mountaintop we can live out our faith with our feelings in the valley, right? It requires more than a feeling. Our love is going to be put to the test. We walk by faith and not by sight. So there is so much more to jump into this week, but I'm going to leave you with this question. What is an area of life that you need to walk by faith rather than by